Hi guys! So, I thought with my YouTube channel being new, I would kind of pop on here and just share my story of the last 4 years of where I've been, where I was, and then where I'm at now, and then where I hope to be going. And just kind of set the stage. So I have always loved fashion, and specifically runway fashion, but I've also really loved thrifting, and I've also never really had a lot of money to buy a ton of clothes. And I'm sure any girls watching this can relate to, you see a lot of bloggers and you see all these like immense cute outfits and then realize these things cost money, and a lot of times they're not sold in thrift stores. So I, in college, went through this spell of how do I still have outfits that I love and still find them on a budget. And so I ended up turning to thrift stores and really kind of like honed in on developing ways to thrift and still look professional, fancy even, and as my dad would joke, probably like look like you have a lot of money and you could be offered a job on the spot, because you can dress in a way that emulates that, and you may not even be wearing something expensive. I would say on average half the time my outfits never cost more than probably $50. But I always, or not, I can't say always, but I get a lot of compliments on them, and people are always surprised when I say that they came from thrift stores. So anyway, that's kind of what I went through in college, gravitated to that, thought I wanted to go into styling, realized that I hated that lifestyle because it's just, there's no work-life balance. Really hard to get into, and I also just didn't really try that hard, so I have to say that as well. And then realized that I also really loved helping people learn how to dress and what to look for in thrift stores, and notice like a lot of people get really overwhelmed, and so a lot of people don't. And in school I really focused on learning more about not just sustainable fashion, but now ethical fashion, and got a degree in media entrepreneurship. Graduated school, and then honestly just kind of like went AWOL is not the right word, maybe like ghosting. I stopped really, posting on Instagram. I stopped really pursuing fashion stuff and just stopped kind of like putting myself out to the world and educating people, I guess. Side note, my air fryer is also going because I'm making lunch. So if you guys hear it go off, that's what that is. Anyway, realized I loved educating people on this and just kind of stopped. I also didn't ever really do it as much as I could have to really see it successful. And to be honest, I'm sure people can relate to this. I did a lot of comparison. I really let, honestly, the devil tell me a lot about myself and kind of my identity, and just stopped really doing stuff like for me and really what I felt the Lord had gifted me in. I started listening to, anytime I would post something, if I got any negative comments or even just people kind of messing around, like making fun of me, I would allow that to get really in my head and take it to heart. And I was like, dang, you're right, like why am I posting this? I don't know, like maybe my opinion is weird and it doesn't matter, because I have noticed like the ways that I recommend people to dress, even the ways that I dress, tend to be a little more out there and like not necessarily on trend, and if it is, it's kind of different. And so yeah, I just kind of went through that process the last few years, and just this kind of like self-discovery of like, who is Hannah, who do I really want to be, what am I good at, what do I want to do. I was a nanny for a while, ended up in software sales, like jobs that if you know me, definitely are not me, and just kind of went in like a little caterpillar in hibernation, like trying to just wrestle with the Lord of like, what, who am I, where am I going, what was I interested in, like. And honestly, like towards the end of 2022, the Lord started doing different things in my heart where I kind of just grew this passion for clothes again, and for educating people on style, talking about it. And he started just kind of like warming up the idea to me again of like, why did you stop this? Like, you loved this, because I've also kind of disliked every job that I've had outside of when I'm doing something related to clothes. And he just kind of showed me how much I really just compared myself, got in my head, and became really self-conscious and lacked a lot of confidence that people should have in what they're gifted in. And you're probably always going to have someone that doesn't like it, but if you listen to that, you're probably never going to pursue the things that you want to do. And so I kind of woke up in like first week of 2023, actually got let go from my software sales job. Fun fact. So as I'm filming this, I'm technically unemployed outside of, I do social media part-time for a few companies, but I no longer have like the 9-to-5 thing. And honestly, it kind of like kickstarted me into the same time frame happened where I was like, wait, I love educating people on style and fashion, and especially thrifting. And if you are on a budget like me, and you also care about ethical fashion, which I'll explain more about what that is, I love helping people figure out, how to handle all of those things and the process behind it and what I've learned, and also just talking about the state of fashion today. And so over the last month, I just kind of had a lot of self-reflection with myself, let the Lord kick me a little bit, let Ryan kick me a little bit, who's my fiance, for anyone who doesn't know, and challenging me in some ways, and then have just done, some heavy self-reflection on like really what I'm good at, and realized what I was allowing people to, what half the time it wasn't even necessarily people, it was probably just the thought of people looking at what I put out and being like, why is Hannah putting that out? Like, that's so weird. I don't like that. It's like, well, that's why we all have, niche things, and we have followers that follow us because they're interested in it, and then you have people that don't because they're more interested in something else, and that's okay. And it's been a cool process, and I just really wanted to kind of encourage you guys that if you're in that spot and there is something that you really want to do, if you're a believer like me, it means that you're going to pray about it and see if it's, something that if it's a God idea, or if it's more your idea, because that's also something in the past I realized I was doing a lot of it for me, which is why I think it never really went anywhere. I wanted to do it with the sole goal of just kind of like having a status, making money, instead of just like my heart for people, my heart for fashion, and wanting to teach people about it. And that is where I'm at now, of having just a better perspective on it and kind of kickstarting my butt into gear for 2023. And so just wanted to kind of put some context behind why you're also probably going to be seeing a lot of posts over the next year, and hopefully for a long time, and just hopefully my journey of where I've been and where I was, and just kind of this, identity process and self-reflection can help anyone that's wanting to do something that might seem really scary, but you might be listening to either yourself, like I was, other people's comments, like I also was, and my encouragement would just be to do it. And if it's really what you feel like you love, it's what you want to do, it's probably going to be really difficult. I literally wake up every day like I have no idea what I'm doing with my life. I don't know how I'm going to get paid. I don't even know if, I don't know where this is going. But now I'm just going to start it and see where it goes. And have goals for myself, because those are important and they're things that we all need to aspire to, I think. But also know that there's growing pains. Everything is a process, and it's probably going to take a while, and it's going to take a lot of hard work. But I hope through my channel you'll see a different side of the content world that's more raw and authentic, because to be honest, I am not the like cutesy blogger type that, is good at making things aesthetically pleasing. I try, and then I kind of realized it was a lot of work and I don't really know how to do it, and it's not as fulfilling because I'm really dry, I'm really sarcastic, and I like humor, and I really like putting all of those into what I'm doing. And so that's what I'm going to try to do here. And so this video will probably be unfiltered because I don't know how to filter right now because I just made a YouTube channel. And I'm kind of an amateur, even just a beginner when it comes to most of this. So, but I'm gonna do it anyway, and we're gonna figure it out. So anyway, if you made it this far, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.